Destiny 2's long-awaited Lightfall expansion is finally here, and it's not being received very well. I'm going to try to break down why based off of my experience with Destiny 2 Lightfall coming up. Now, before we get into that, I do want to say that everything I say moving forward is purely based off of my experience with the campaign. I watched virtually no hype trailers or lore breakdowns or anything like that. What I'm about to say is purely based off of my in-game playtime through Destiny 2 Lightfall. Also, before we move forward, I do want to say that there are going to be heavy Lightfall storyline spoilers. So if you do not want any spoilers for Lightfall, this is your warning before I say anything else. Alright, first up, obviously I'm going to talk about Strand. Strand as a subclass is very fun and it's very well thought out. It has incredible movement, it's very bright and colorful. The movements, abilities, attacks, everything. It looks really, really good and all of the sound effects are very satisfying. And personally for me, being a Titan main, I absolutely loved the Berserker aspect of Strand. And I would even say that it's taking the number 2 slot for my absolute favorite subclass as a Titan. Number 1 being Hammer of Soul, because Solar main all day. And although I didn't try out Strand for the Hunter or the Warlock, as I am purely a Titan main, I do have quite a few friends that use the Warlock and the Hunter, and they did also say that they thoroughly enjoyed Strand on those classes. Now, the story of Lightfall is really fun, with a grim tone behind it, and going into this new DLC, I didn't really know anything about the Witness, but I knew pretty quickly from the cutscenes that the Witness was not to be messed with. As for Neomuna, the new city on Neptune that this DLC takes place on, it's pretty cool looking, with kind of a late 80s, but also really futuristic kind of cyberpunk city kind of vibe. And as for Neomuna's inhabitants, or also known as the Cloud Striders, they are very interesting characters, at least for the short time that you actually do get to see them on screen. And the 2 Cloud Striders you actually meet, being Rohan and Nimbus, are actually, in my opinion, pretty decent characters. Rohan is older and more serious, more of a wise character, whereas Nimbus is young and not as serious, which I felt was pretty interesting because their chemistry was definitely fun to witness. Now, as for the grind is fun during the story, from base light level entry going into Lightfall of 1600, and then reaching the soft cap of 1750 light on legendary difficulty. It felt really good all the way throughout, and I felt like I leveled just enough to almost feel OP. As for the new enemy type, the Tormentors, I felt like they were a really cool enemy type, and they introduced this new type of fighting mechanic, almost, not entirely, but almost like a Monster Hunter style fight, where you had to shoot their shoulder pads to weaken them before their chest would start glowing, and then you could do a lot more damage to their chest. So as a new enemy type, I thought they looked really cool, and then I thought that aspect of the fight was also really interesting. And as for the season pass, it's a pretty standard season pass within Destiny with lots of really cool loot, nice ornaments, and I did think it was really, really nice that it was included within the base access pass of Lightfall, which was $50. Now, with all that being said, it's time for my gripes. Some of these definitely aren't too bad, and I'm not going to be super harsh as I do love Destiny, but I will absolutely point out what I did not like about this DLC. Neomuna as a city is very spread out and empty, ridiculously so. Yes, there are enemies around to fight and a world event that you can participate in, but it's just a bit too empty of a destination. As for the story on almost every level feels rushed. Rushed to the point that I felt like I missed key details because they either weren't explained at all, or they just explained it so fast that I didn't catch it. One being why Rohan the Cloud Strider had to die. So basically, the way Rohan dies is we go into this room and we're about to fight a boss. there is this device that Rohan is trying to stop from exploding, or I don't even remember because it didn't even feel like it was explained properly. But he goes inside of this device and then the fight initiates, and afterwards, Rohan is trying to hold this thing together before it explodes, or again, whatever it's about to do, because it literally felt like it didn't even explain what was about to happen. And then he says that he needs help, and our ghost says, one time, oh, we can't. And then that was it. And he was like, okay, I have no choice. And then he self-destructs to destroy the device. Dude. I heard about it after I beat the main campaign, but apparently Cloud Striders only live for 10 years, which I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like ridiculously lazy writing and just a excuse to kill off a character for dramatic effect. Plus, I don't even recall that 10-year lifetime being mentioned at all. So here I am meeting this new character that looks really cool, and then 3 missions later, he's dead. Now, as for Strand, this is the first time we are experiencing this subclass. So obviously it's gonna take a toll on our bodies, and it's gonna take some time for us to actually get used to wielding it. But with that being said, there are these exhaustion phases after you wield Strand for a certain duration. Your Guardian will get that red exhaustion indicator above their head, and then you'll just stumble and stagger around for a few seconds. Now, sometimes this does happen mid-fight, and if this happens mid-fight, you don't take any damage, or at least I personally didn't, whenever these exhaustion phases popped up. But it really took me out of the experience, because mid-fight, I'm over here fighting the Taken, or the Cabal, or the Vex, and then out of nowhere, I drop my weapon, and my camera goes all shaky, and I'm stumbling around and staggering, and I go into third-person mode, and then Osiris would mutter something like, oh, your body isn't used to Strand yet. And honestly, I know this is more of a nitpick. If this would have happened like 2 or 3 times during the campaign, I really wouldn't have bothered me. But this happens at every crucial point of wielding Strand, which is like 8 if not 9 times during the campaign. And even after you already have Strand, you have fully unlocked the subclass. If you go back to help a friend through the campaign, or you just choose to play it again on your own for some reason, these moments of exhaustion happen again, even though you already have Strand. Your body is exhausted again just because you're replaying the story. Next up is the DLC size. It is over 80, yes, 80 gigabytes on Steam, and it's even more on console. I actually made a joke to my fire team after we completed the main campaign that this DLC is 60 gigabytes of cutscenes and 12 gigabytes of content, because it really felt like that. We get 1 new strike along with the main campaign, and I believe it was like 1 or 2 revitalized strikes as well. Then you get a massively spread out location with not much to do, a new subclass, a new season pass, and a few quality of life changes as far as I could tell. But considering all of this, first and foremost, I really prefer when a DLC or a game in general runs very well, and for the most part, Destiny does. Destiny is hilariously optimized. But even with a 3080, I had a lot of staggers, frame drops, stutters, and random moments where I would go from 144 frames to like 39 if anything fight-worthy was happening. Now, yes, I know optimization, bug fixes, more quality of life, content, I know all of that will come in the future. But for day one, the DLC being nearly 100 gigabytes, and then the overall experience feeling very hollow, left me just kind of thinking, meh. And from Destiny, that hurts. It seems like a good foundation, honestly, truly, but it just hasn't been built upon. And speaking of building upon things, the plot. The plot felt very dry and poorly developed. Okay, so you got the big bad, right? You got the Witness. Dude is crazy strong. They're able to control our ghosts to get to the Traveler, apparently. And by the end of the campaign, the Witness does just that. The dude cuts a pyramid into the Traveler with their bare finger, and then the prophecy opens up and flashes before Homie's eyes, and then the Witness floats into the Traveler, and what is then insinuated is that we lose. The fight is over. We're done. We gotta pack it up. But the emotion and the tone the pacing, everything felt so bare bones, considering we just lost. And even when I went back to the tower to speak with Zavala and Ikora about the fact that everything as we know it is virtually over, they gave me the same animations and facial expressions that they would have if we were just having a normal chat. Now, I took nearly a 3-year break from Destiny, and I came back with Witch Queen long after Witch Queen had already been out, and I felt wowed again. I felt absolutely wowed by the cutscenes, the animations, the tone, the story, the plot, the content, the grind, just absolutely plus. I had 0 complaints with Witch Queen. So of course, coming off of that hype train, I was expecting big from Lightfall, and it just did not deliver the way I hoped it would. Now, I do believe that Lightfall is a good, fun experience with a full fire team, but considering the main campaign and the soft cap of this brand new DLC was done in 9 hours, including plenty of dying, exploration, wipes and resets, taking breaks to go to other locations, and of course accounting for bathroom breaks, I would say save your money. If you want something that is going to last you more than 1 to 2 play sessions, save your money and wait for this DLC to drop in price by $20 to $30. I believe this DLC needs to be cheaper, and I believe it needs a lot more content. But those are just my thoughts. But also, with that being said, I did thoroughly enjoy my time playing throughout Lightfall. So those were my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on Destiny 2 Lightfall in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, please drop a like on this video, as it does help out a lot and I do very much appreciate it. Now, please also hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell as well, as these 2 buttons also help out tremendously and I do greatly appreciate them. We are currently on track to reach 1,400 subscribers by the end of this month, which is absolutely insane, considering 4 months ago, I was trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so very much. And as always, remember,
Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian.